All right, that will leave you guessing for the film when to be announced for its showing. At this point, I've just been informed that there is a performance that did not happen on Tuesday night that is going to happen now before ballroom. So, whatever you guys, what's happening?
One thing first, all our drama classes, we really like the blooms, and we got a little gift for them.
Can that happen? Conner, well, I don't have the story with me.
Yes, it is your topic. Is it here?
Look, no, it's here. It's didn't you leave one here?
I left one here.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
That.
But now you can do the introduction. Yay.
The performance you are about to watch presents the different styles and techniques of a group of young writers, each trying their hand at the story of a short little water-carrying man, also known as a water dwarf, named Milo. This story was begun by Conner Moulaison and was finished by the rest of us. We hope that we would like to thank you as a group for coming to listen to the story as presented by Conner Moulaison himself of Milo the Water Dwarf.
So I started this, as she said. Abby worked on it. Gabe worked on it.
Evan.
Scott worked on it. Did Kyler not work on it?
Evan and Joseph.
Yeah, everyone in the class.
Yeah.
I think I made my new contribution.
Oh. Okay. Milo the Water Dwarf by Conner Moulaison. The sun rose up over the mountainous horizon, spreading a brilliant fiery light across the landscape. Milo the Water Dwarf crawled out of the hole which was his home. He sighed with appreciation at the image of beauty in front of him. The mountains in the distance gradually worked down to green hilly plains. This continued on to the right as far as the eye could see, though Milo knew that in that direction dwelt the big people, the race of man. As his eye drifted closer to his lone location, the plain slowly gave way to forest. Milo lived on the outskirts of the far woods. A 2-foot-tall entrance, carved from stone, marked his home. Given the fact that he was a dwarf, that was all the height Milo needed to enter. He stretched his arms out and yawned. The fresh morning air permeated his body, and he felt refreshed. With a slight adjustment to his blue cap, he went off at a brisk pace farther into the forest. Today was a good day, for it was the day he was to receive his golden cap, This marked the start of his career as a water carrier, a life of the fulfilling excitement that inevitably came with carrying water from one place to the other. He'd been practicing relentlessly over the past month for the orientation ceremony, a challenge designed to test the skill as a master of water carrying. He wasn't sure what the test would be. Perhaps he would have to navigate an obstacle course while carrying 2 jugs of water. Or maybe it would be a test of his top speed while carrying water. Whatever it was bound to be exciting. Milo was almost shaking with anticipation. After a few minutes of walking, he decided to stop at his closest friend's house. His hole didn't have as finely carved an entrance as his, mostly due to his unfortunate location. It was right in the middle of a forest clearing. He couldn't afford the high-quality stone, so the rain would always degrade whatever entrance he placed there. A few years ago, he just gave up and left it as it was. Now it was only a shadow of its former glory. The entrance to a dwarf hole generally doesn't have a door, so it was customary to simply shout out your presence. Milo peered down the hall, its stony steps still as dusty as ever. "Hello there, Ned. Are you there?" he yelled in his high-pitched voice. The quick padding of footsteps was heard. After a few seconds, Ned appeared at the bottom of the staircase and said, "Hello, Milo. Decided to stop by for a visit, did you?" He wiped his hands on his apron and smiled at Milo. "Just wanted to say hello before my ceremony." Milo beamed with pride. "Of course you have," Ned said excitedly. "Well, come in, come in. Shall I cut you some tea? Oh, we're just cooking some lovely biscuits for the party tonight. But how about we eat them now?" Milo followed Ned down the stony steps and into a hallway of stained oak wood. After a few seconds of walking, and Ned rambling on about his tea and biscuits, they entered the kitchen. Milo could smell the biscuits cooking in Ned's brick oven. Almost as soon as they entered, the teapot began to whistle. "Good timing, eh?" Ned said with a wink. He hurried over and took it off the heat. "You don't mind me keeping you, right? I know you were on your way to the ceremony when you came by," he said as he poured the tea into him and Milo's. "Oh, it's no trouble, Ned. The orientation isn't for a few hours. I was just getting an early start." Ned nodded and checked the biscuits. He pointed at Milo's tea and said, "I put a teaspoon of sugar in there, just how you like it." "Thanks, mate." Milo took a sip of his tea, savoring the warm flavor. When the biscuits were finally done, they ended up eating at least half the batch together. They talked and talked. They talked about the ceremony, about recent events, about the delicious biscuits. For those hours leading up to the orientation, all seemed right. But as Milo learned time and time again, things were not always as they seemed. They stayed talking for 4 more hours until they realized they were late. "You'd better hurry and run to my chambers. Down that hallway is a shortcut out of my dwarf hall." Hang on a minute. What is this? Oh, right. Milo ran as fast as his little legs could carry him. He busted open the door at the end of the hallway, just as Ned had instructed him to do. Milo stumbled down the hills leading towards the forest, which seemed like it was never getting closer. He then decided that eating all those biscuits was terrible for his short legs, which had to carry him all the way from Ned's to the orientation hall. At this point, the idea of being a water carrier hit Milo full on. This meant he wouldn't have lazy days in his armchair smoking his pipe, and certainly no more eating unhealthily. Milo knew he could not change his mind now. He was determined to serve his country in the greatest way possible. As Milo reached the orientation hall, he was in awe at the huge stone doors which opened up to the cabin inside. He wandered in and was led to his seat. The room was lit up by thousands of torches. In front of the room sat the stage, and upon that stage was a stout, well-respected dwarf, Jif, the president of the Water Carrying Foundation. That was every water dwarf's dream, to be in such a high position. Sitting next to Milo was an old friend who was also replacing his blue cap with a golden one. They sat there for a while, conversing over food and the best kind of tobacco for warm summer evenings. Suddenly a voice rang out from the crowd. Everyone hushed. Milo knew his time had come. As Jif listed off the names of the new eager water carriers, Milo waited to hear his. But to his astonishment, he was not called. What could this mean, he thought. He leapt right out of his seat, for all his dreams had just been crushed. In an illicit voice, he screamed and ran at the president. Milo drew out his biscuit knife, ready to do whatever he could to get back his only remaining life. He then stopped, dead in his tracks. What was he doing? He put the knife away, and suddenly, long, mournful sobs descended upon him. Milo was rather shaken up after this incident. While he was trying, he had been taken away to be questioned. They soon figured out that all Milo was upset about was because they had forgot to put his name on the list. So they led him back to the orientation, and he was entered as one of the new water carriers. Now you all must understand, Milo isn't mad, nor is any dwarf. But the reason he retaliated was obviously just because being a water carrier means the world to every dwarf. The day was perfect for what lay before Milo. This he realized as he wiped the last tears from his eyes and was greeted by the warmth of the sun. He was halfway there, halfway to reaching the glorious dream that consumed his every thought. His name had been called, and he had walked up to the stage. He had stood only feet from Jeff. Broken down in sobs, yes, and swinging a knife through the air. But still, it had been an honor. As he reflected upon this, he was shuffled along with all the other water carrier wannabes. Milo, being an inch taller than the average dwarf, could see above their heads 2 long poles. The poles were about 5 feet apart, and long checkered flags streamed at their tips. It was the starting point, the beginning of the challenge, the beginning of his new life and his new diet. But nonetheless, he was determined to do well. As they reached the flags, the voice of the president called out to the sea of blue caps.
Water dwarfs, members of the blue-colored caps, you come together in a large group on this sunny day to greatly challenge yourselves on whichever challenge you meet, to hopefully and eventually receive.
Jeff took a deep breath. He liked his adjectives.
Your very first, brand new, eagerly awaited golden cap.
Milo couldn't help hopping from one foot to the other in excitement and instinct, the spongy grass masking any start.
For your first great challenge, you must traverse the deadly labyrinth and carry your old, heavy water buckets. Now watch out. There are many traps designed to trap you, spill out your water. Score will be based by time and amount of water in the bucket by the end. Please no intentional harm.
Now pick up a pail. Milo firmly grasped an oaken wood pole with the bucket of the same material on each side.
Go to the starting line.
Milo jogged up to the beginning line as quickly as possible without spilling any water.
And begin!
With that, Milo sprinted into the dark, hormone hedges. Panting, Milo stopped for a short rest and to get his bearings.
Which way will everyone go?
Milo muttered to himself.
I definitely don't want to go whichever way that is.
Milo huffed and shouldered his pole and started off again. It had been hours that had blended together. Hours of pink, carnivorous slugs. Hours of fire crabs. Hours of random traps and walking.
But those hours started to blend together.
After hours of walking, jogging, and hefting the jugs of water, Milo was tired. So he was definitely not prepared when 2 sprites with green skin were blocking his way.
You are the dwarf!
Ugly sprite number 1 sneered as if dwarf was the worst thing he could think of.
We are the guardians of the edge of the maze. They took his past the sewer through.
With that, the first sprite charged. Milo, knowing a fight was about to start, slid the jugs off and lifted the pool as a staff. The sprite surprised Milo by juking right and coming at his side. I realized that was left. Juking right. Milo grunted and he fell.
The dwarf has been defeated.
The first sprite said with a grin, but Milo, being the sly water dwarf he was, quickly got up and hit the sprite right in the sternum. Sprite number 1 stumbled back right into the other sprite. The other sprites, knocked unconscious from the banging of their heads, crashed to the ground.
Now I can get going. That golden cap is mine.
Milo said with a grin as he pranced off past the two stymied creatures. After his prancing victory dance, Milo looked onward to find two checkered flags.
I just about made it.
Milo thought aloud as his grin spread from ear to ear. He skipped forward without spilling his water.
I'm the most worthy water dwarf ever.
He thought to himself. Suddenly, a large blue creature flooded his vision. Milo fell back in astonishment. It had the bill of a duck, but the tail of a beaver. Its claws were sharper than most dwarf swords. The creature growled at Milo, but Milo refused his own fear. To him, fear was a choice. He slid his buckets off of his staff once more and widened his stance. The creature closed in on Milo, but it turned out to be bigger than he thought. It was at least 4 times his height. Milo, without considering his choices, backed up in fright. His little dwarf scream could be heard for miles. The scream momentarily deafened the creature. The large plataponomous clasped its webbed feet to its ears. Milo saw an opportunity. He could slow the creature down. With a loud cry, Milo spun back around and flung his pint-sized body at the large beast. His staff flew around like a fury.
The plataponomous couldn't take much more before fainting from the screaming and the blood smacking of wood. The plataponomous thrashed its claws around and tore at Milo's clothes. But Milo was not faint of heart.
Milo, seeking to finish this race alive, screamed even louder.
His high voice screeched and the plataponomous fell to the ground. It let out a large cry of death. The plataponomous breathed its final breath and closed its eyes as it fell into the abyss of endless sleep.
Milo hopped over the beast and continued on running. Milo ran towards those checkered flags as fast as his stumpy little feet could carry him. As he got closer, he realized with sudden dread that one of the other dwarves was standing at the finish line. How could this have happened? He completed most of the challenges with ease. Was he the only one that had had to fight a plataponomous? None of it mattered now. He had lost. As he crossed the finish line, the crowd of dwarves cheered him on. Jif's voice boomed high above the noise.
Finishing second is Milo.
The crowd cheered once again.
Milo, please stand by Timmy.
Milo went over to stand by Timmy, the dwarf who had finished first. Soon enough, all of the hopeful water dwarfs finished the maze. There were 5 dwarves in all. Timmy, Stan, Fred, Tom, and Milo. All but Timmy stood with their heads down as the judges talked. Finally, Jif stood up on stage to announce the winner.
And the winner of this most prestigious, wondrous, esteemed golden cap is...
Jif paused for dramatic effect. Milo wished he would just get it over with.
Milo the Water Dwarf!
Milo's head snapped up. He'd won? How? Jif welcomed him onto the stage to accept his cap and continued to speak.
Though Timmy finished the obstacle course first, Milo had more water in his bucket than all of the other dwarfs combined.
Milo beamed with pride, his smile reaching from ear to ear. Milo took off his blue cap, allowing Jif to place the golden one atop his head. He had done it. The golden cap was his.